So in this outline, in the cost center dimension, we have cost center, total cost center, SG&A, G&A, and then we have a department or cost center called net ops. Below net ops, we have a series of cost centers, and for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to spend most of my time in cost center 352. So if you look at this S-based model, you can see in Shuttle that we have a series of members and net ops from the cost center dimension, and the total for net ops for actual scenario, working version, FY14 October, legal entity, location, etc. So fairly typical S-based application in the way that it's being presented. And if we wanted to drill in S-based style, we go from net ops to C352, which we're getting that drill relationship from the S-based outline. But then if we want to go further than that, S-based does not hold any detail beyond that, whereas the relational database does. So if we look at our simple relational table that we have set up in MySQL, we can see we have segments relating to 352. We also have segments relating to some other cost centers like 820, for example, and some others. So when we do our drill down in Shuttle, we take a look at 352, and that gives us all the relational detail. So looks like the same interface, so it looks like it's still S-based, but it's not really still S-based. It is coming, all these records you see for 352 are all coming out of relational and being displayed in the same interface that the S-based information is being displayed in. So if we go through and copy this stuff, we can show, well, let me show you the demo first. We can go through and validate the data and the numbers if you want, just to make sure that everybody understands what we're doing here. So that's one of the ways that the users could experience the drill down or drill through capabilities, is in this unified interface, I'll call it. Another one is we could drill from the actual data cell. So this is another we're accomplishing essentially the same thing, but with a different user experience and different navigation style. So if we come in here and drill into NetOps, we're going to do the same thing where we go from NetOps into 352, 353, and the other two cost centers that are associated with NetOps, still looking at S-base only. Then if we wanted to drill further beyond what S-base is capable of holding, we can click on the data cell and allow us to open the relational details in what we call a slave window or a sub window down below, or pull up the relational details in a completely separate tab. So we have pull up the relational details in Excel. So we have three different ways to display the relational details. The first one is the slave window, where we're now seeing all these relational records that are associated with C352 or Cost Center 352 in this sub window down below. And so you can see that not only are all the details here, but when we get down to the bottom, Shuttle gives us a little total for what the total is for all those relational records in terms of how they add up. The other navigation or user experience is to open up in another tab, where it's the same thing we were just displaying down below, but it's opening up in another tab. And from here, we could export to Excel. And there's all the relational detail in Excel, giving us a total down at the bottom. And the third option was to just open up in Excel and skip the slave tab or the separate tab and just take all that relational detail and dump it into Excel. and here it is. So let me close that guy and close this guy and close that guy. And let's just make sure that, yeah, there it is. So it's not giving me a pop-up window letting me know to download it, it's automatically going to Excel. Okay, so we can go in and validate the numbers and so forth. I've already done it and gone through it to make sure that everything's ticking and tying and we're pulling the right records out of the relational, and we are. And there's of course a background where we take, when we do the click, we take the parameters of the POV and the things that are here in the dimensions in SSpace in order to construct the SQL statement to go out and do the drill through and grab the details. So so all that stuff is available for browsing and review if you're interested. But I'll stay high level because I don't want to bore anybody. So let me pause. It has the ability to do either one. So in this particular example, we created a MySQL table, which would be the equivalent of a staging area. So there would be an integration, an ETL process that would pull out of whatever GL is storing the source transactions and into the staging area, and we would do our drill through into this staging area. The other option would be to make a connection directly to the GL where all the source transactions are. The potential confusion there, of course, is if you drill, there's a refresh time between the source transactions and the GL and how long it takes them to get out to SSpace. If somebody looks at a number in SSpace, does a drill through to get back to the source transactions, and that drill goes directly to the source and gets there before the data's been refreshed, then of course there's going to be a disconnect. So there's a potential source of confusion there, but from an architecture and technical perspective, Shuttle could certainly support either approach. Is that we've gone from SSpace to relational from here to here, but this is these are the balances in EBS, but they could potentially want to drill from here into the subledger details. So we would need an additional drill from here into the subledger details, which is going from relational to relational, and that too is possible in addition to what we've shown here, which is, go from SSpace to relational. Well, we could also go from relational to relational to add another level or another layer of drilling if that's desired from any customer. So hopefully that's a good intro to some of the things that we have to offer, and keep in touch and let us know what we can do to help.